place to call home. My name is Russell Bankson. I'm a newspaper man. That's the Spokesman Review building, for those that don't know that. As you may already know, May Arkwright Hutton thoroughly enjoyed making news and loved being in the newspaper. And my job was to find and report the news. So, May and I got to be good friends. So, Al Hutton, her husband, asked me the night before her funeral if I would say a few words at the service. Al wanted someone who knew May in the old days, up in the Coeur d'Alenes, you know, up in the Silver Valley, before it became the Silver Valley. Back in the days when May rode into that country, 23 years old, carrying everything she owned in a battered wicker basket. In the days when she ran a cook shack and earned a living feeding hungry men who dug holes in the mountains with nothing more than a pick and shovel and a big burlap sack full of hope. Al wanted someone who knew May in the long ago, long before she married Al Hutton, long before she and Al became millionaires, long before she became the friend of Teddy Roosevelt, Clarence Darrow, famous poets like Ella Wheeler Wilcox, and suffrage leaders like Abigail Scott Duniway, and long before she lived here in this beautiful home, long before she was the most well-known woman in the Northwest. So I asked Al, what should I say?
You're the writer, Russ. Did you admire her?
Hell yes, I admired her. You know that, Al.
Well, whittle the list of her admirable traits down to one or two.
Well, I was still stumped. But then I heard this lady talking out there on the lawn.
May was not a Christian, you know. What makes you say that? Well, she rarely could be found in church, and she often missed the Sunday service. Remember, keep holy the Sabbath. May Hutton will never be admitted into heaven.
Rarely could she be found in church. May Hutton went to church every day of her life. Every day that she lived, she stepped out into the daylight with one goal in mind: to make the world a better place. She didn't just think about it. She didn't just talk about it. May Hutton tracked down every opportunity in her community, and she took action. No hungry child went unfed when May Hutton was around. No young pregnant girl shunted aside by her own parents could escape May's compassionate embrace. No powerless woman was denied May's counsel and advice, no matter the time or place. No hungry miner, down on his luck, was turned away from May's dinner table. They were invited. Invite yourself, don't be shy, May would say in her big voice. I was a prospector back then. I had to invite myself on more than a few occasions. May's church was her community, and she was in attendance every damn day. Every day. And that included Sunday. God sees all. God knows all. Once, May and I found ourselves standing next to the minister of a Spokane church. The minister immediately said, "Mrs. Hutton, I haven't seen you in Sunday service in ages." And May said, "Well, I hope you don't take it personally, Reverend. I like church. The truth is, I just have a hell of a time being quiet and sitting still for that long." Later that day, May told me, "On the day of judgment, I'll plead my case before God on my actions and hope He forgives my absence from Sunday service." God sees all, God hears all, God knows all. A couple of months back, May's kidneys began failing badly. A few days ago, I stopped by for a brief visit. She managed to sit up in bed a little. She even managed to smile a little. She said, "Russ, I'm getting better. I guess the good Lord found a few more things for me to do down here." One day later, she died. May Hutton was not a Christian? When May gets to those pearly gates and St. Peter asks to see her invitation, she will simply say, "I have no invitation, I invited myself." St. Peter will obviously have to consult with God concerning this bold woman without the proper papers. God will no doubt ask St. Peter to read me the sins in her ledger. She often raised her voice in anger. God will say. She sometimes used profane language. Oh, God will say, wrinkling his brow. She frequently missed church services, including the Sabbath. And God will curiously ask, "What is this woman's name?" And St. Peter will read it. "Mary Arkwright Hutton." And God will laugh. The way only God can laugh, like a great rolling thunder. And God will say, "That's May, all right. Admit her at once. May is an exception." God hears all. God sees all. God knows all. There will be room for May Hutton in heaven. And if there isn't, I'll have no interest in going there myself.
Al? Al? Al, we need to take May now.
Yes.
Yeah, go. You need to come in too.
In just a few minutes, Gus.
I never seen so many people at a funeral.
I think I shook 1,000 hands. Yes, May always could draw a crowd.
I thought she would rise up and give a speech.
She didn't pass up many opportunities like this one, did she? Well, there she goes.
Come. You stay out here longer, you catch your death of cold.
Gus, is that a boy down there near the trolley stop?
Yeah, I think so.
It's getting late to be out there alone. Hey, son, up here.
Me?
Yes, are you waiting for the trolley?
No, sir. I just live down the hill a ways.
Okay, well, better start home before dark. Your mom and pa will be worrying about you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hutton, I'm sorry about Mrs. Hutton. She was a real nice lady.
Thank you, son.
Good boy. Do you know him?
I don't think so. Gus? May asked you to dig her grave, didn't she?
Yeah,
And you did, didn't you?
yeah. This morning. was an honor. She said that if I dig her grave, I would be sure to strike more silver.
You're a good friend, Gus Paulson. You're still around when my time comes. Will you dig my grave?
If I am still around.
Oh, I think your chances are pretty good. Well, I guess it's time to go inside.
Are you sure you won't ride with Myrtle and me to the cemetery in the morning?
Yes, I'm sure. Bert will drive and Nettie and Ez will ride with us. May want it that way, but thank you.
We will meet at Fairmount at 11 o'clock then.
We built this house to include everything that May deserved to have. She made the decisions on almost all the details. She only lived here for 9 months.
Yes, but every day she said was like a day in heaven.
Yes. Now May will see if she was right. Bernice, you take that envelope. May asked especially for you, and we're very thankful.
But I can't do that, Mr. Hutton. May was like a mother, and if it was not for her and you, I never would have learned to play.
Take it and give it to someone else who wants to learn to play, please.
Al, I've never seen this before. It looks so peaceful, so wonderful.
Yes, she does.
When was it taken?
Just after she got back from that Democratic convention in Baltimore, and just before everything started going bad. We only got this 3 days ago. I asked her not to go on that trip.
That was one of her crowning moments, Al.
Yes, I know, but it just wore her out. I should have said no.
May had a mind of her own, and you always honored that.
Still.
Shall we leave May here?
Yes, I can keep an eye on her. Besides, we still have some things to talk over.
You sleep now. Thank you, Nettie.
Call us, please. Anything at all.
Anything.
Good night, Uncle Al.
Good night, sweet Helen.
I'm sorry that May's gone to heaven.
Me too.
Here's your chair, Mr. Hutton. Is there anything left?
No, thank you, Burbs. I believe it's all finished.
I have those flowers potted ready for the cemetery in the morning, Mr. Al.
Thank you, Ezra. You two go on now. Thank you for all your help.
Good night.
This house just got a whole lot bigger, didn't it, Mr. Al?
Yes, Ezra, a whole lot bigger.
Good night, Mr. Hutton.
A whole lot bigger and a whole lot quieter.
Mr. Hutton,
Yes, Nettie?
would you like me to turn off the light?
No, thank you. You go to bed, Nettie.
Mr. Hutton, you're not going to sleep in here, are you?
I don't know, Nettie. I don't know much of anything right now. I'll see. Oh, sweet man. What will I do now?
Nettie,
Yes,
what time is my meeting at the children's home?
You mean was. What time was your meeting at the children's home?
Nettie? Nettie!
9:14.
Oh my God, I'm gonna be late.
No, May, you are late now.
What time is it?
9:15.
Oh, Nettie, why didn't you tell me I was running late?
I did tell you. 1 hour and 17 minutes ago.
Oh my God, Nettie, I would fire you if I could get along without you.
Yes, Miss Hutton.
Sometimes you just need to push me out the door.
Me? Push you out the door.
You know what I mean. Did you call the mayor's office?
Yes.
Has Bert got my beautiful red Rio ready to go?
Been ready for 1 hour and 19 minutes now. Should be Everyone expects it anyhow.
Thank you for your patience, Nettie. I'm gone. Goodbye! Nettie, tell my husband I love him.
Yes, Mom, I will.
I'm coming, Bertrand McDougal, I'm coming!
Hey!
It's all right, Mr. Hutton. Just a dream.
I love you too, man. Well, that'll have to do it, May. I know. I know it doesn't look finished. It's not supposed to be finished because your life wasn't finished. You had so much more you wanted to do and could have done, you see? Thank you. Yes, it is large. No, it has nothing to do with your physical size. It has everything to do with the number of lives you touched while you were here. And because there needs to be room for two, you know. One of these days, I'll be lying beside you again. See? It just says Hutton. It's for both of us. I don't know who that was. People have been doing that. I think they expect you to wave from the window the way you used to.
Mr. Hutton? Mr. Hutton?
Oh, and Eddie, I didn't hear you coming.
Didn't you call for me?
No, I didn't.
Well, now that I'm up, might as well fix us some breakfast and brew up some coffee.
No, I had coffee, Nettie, thank you. It's hardly daybreak. You should go back to bed.
Oh, no, sir. I was hearing things again, I guess. I thought I heard you talking with someone.
Nettie, how long ago was it that you lost your husband?
22 years now.
Yes, of course. Did you sometimes think you heard his voice in your house after he passed away?
Oh, yes, sir.
You did?
Oh, yes, all the time.
Wasn't that a bit odd?
No, sir. Well, the only thing that was odd was that he hardly ever spoke to me when he was alive. He was a quiet man, mostly.
I thought maybe I was the only one that heard her voice.
Oh, no, sir. Sometimes I hear her say, "Nettie, bring me the morning paper," or, "Nettie, get that no good mayor of ours on the telephone."
True?
Oh, yes. And sometimes it's just a single word I hear, and one word in particular that I will not repeat.
Does she call out, "Damn"?
Yes, that one all the time. And others, much worse.
I hear her too, Nettie.
Well, so does Bert. You know, the other day, he said he heard Miss May call out, "Bert, crank up the Thomas Flyer, we're going to the children's home." And he ran out to that garage, and he fired up that automobile long before he... before he realized that May is gone.
Yes. I hear her too, and sometimes I answer her.
Oh, I'm glad you told me. Thought you was talking to yourself. You know, Mr. Hutton, when my grandpa Sean passed away, my granny Beth put a stone bench right next to the grave, and she went there every single day, no matter the weather, for 13 years, just to have little chats with Grandpa.
Did you ever go with her?
Oh, ever so often she'd ask me to tag along.
Did Sean ever answer your grandma's questions?
I don't know about that. And ever so often she'd say something like, well, all right then, like she was answering something Sean said to her.
What sort of things did they talk about?
Oh, you know, what she was making for dinner or whether she should buy a new milk cow. She was just lonely, you know. But no harm done. They loved each other very much, Mr. Like you loved May.
Like I love May.
Like you loved May.
Thank you,
You know, Grandma Beth didn't go visiting Sean all the time. She went out, she saw friends. I mean, she was on her own then, and she had to look after herself. But she had to eat something, and of course she had to sleep.
Yes,
and
Nettie, I understand.
What is it you're working on all the time, Mr. Hutton?
Oh, I just finished it. This is May's monument that'll go in the cemetery.
Well, this part here looks finished, but this over here doesn't look finished at all.
Yes, it's supposed to be unfinished on that side.
Well, you're the one who's going to have to explain that to me. You know, I don't think you're off your rocker, Mr. Hutton, if that's what you was worrying about. The fact is, I think you're the most sensible man I ever met.
Thank you, Nettie.
So if I hear voices and I know you have no visitors, I'll know you're having a little chat with me and I won't come barging in.
I appreciate that. Oh, and Nettie, there's no need for anyone else to know about this, is there?
Know about what? No, sir, just you, me, Bert, and Ezra. Our lips are sealed.
Bert and Ezra?
Well, yes, sir. They aren't deaf, you know. Maybe a little slow, the both of them. Not deaf yet. Don't you worry about them. Their lips are sealed. Speaking of the boys, they wonder and worry some if they'll be kept on, the three of us. Well, we all get to wondering if we'll be needed or wanted.
Of course you'll be kept on. You three are family. I need you now more than ever. I'll tell them both today.
Thank you, Mr. Hutton. That's exactly what I thought you was going to say.
Made of pink marble. Yes, pink marble. Who would have thought there was such a thing? I haven't given any thought to a stone bench, no. Have you been talking to Nettie?
Winter of Al's discontent. I'm writing a book about the Huttons and their times. traipsing through long ago history while simultaneously chasing down today's news. Doing both makes for late nights and early mornings. Anyway, the winter of 1916, just after May's passing, that certainly was Al's winter of discontent. Snow began falling in November, and it piled up deep, and then it just stayed put, like an uninvited guest overstaying his welcome. After May's funeral, from October through April, Al became a recluse, or as Nettie said one day, he was a man sad and lost. All of us who knew Al Hutton and cared for him tried to give him time to himself, time to privately grieve the loss of his wife of 27 years. You can't rush grieving. It takes the time it takes, period. And then, one day, you learn you can't live in grief any longer, that you must live with your grief. I wrote so much about the Huttons in those days, I would get dozens of calls and messages at the newspaper every day. And people would stop me on the street.
How's Mr. Hutton, Russell?
He's doing better. He's doing better.
I feel so badly for Levi Hutton, Mr. Bankson.
Yes, ma'am, but he's coming along.
Tell him we love him, won't you?
Oh, yes, ma'am, I will. I tried not to bother Al, but from time to time I'd look into his office at the Hutton building, or I'd catch him at home for a brief talk. But he was just not up for social conversation.
I'm here all the time, Russell. So is Bert and Ezra. We keeps an eye on him.
I know you do. Thank you, Nettie.
Yes, Russell. I was over here for Christmas. You brought presents for the kids. We had a nice dinner and sang some carols. We seemed to have a good time.
I knew Al had excused himself from events at the Masonic Lodge, but he never failed to attend to his treasurer's obligations at the Spokane Children's Home. Mrs. Fanny Lewis, president of the Ladies' Benevolent Society, who operated the children's home, told me that.
Mr. Hutton never allowed his grieving to interfere with collecting food and clothes for the children and keeping this place warm in the winter. Not Al Hutton, never.
Mr. Hutton and Bert came to the children's home every other day with their auto fully packed with big boxes loaded with clothes, food, blankets, toys, and treats. Then Bert would leave, but Mr. Hutton would stay and talk to the children and listen to them and watch them play. It was the only time I saw him smile this past winter, and occasionally laugh.
You cannot rush grieving. But we were all waiting, like we waited for the spring thaw, waiting for a rebirth to come for Al Hutton. And then, one day, it happened. It all had to do with the place we called the Poetry Shed.
My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began. So is it now I am man. So be it when I should grow old or let me die. The child is father of man. Child is father of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by a natural piety. Yes?
Al?
Who's there?
Room service.
Gus?
Yeah.
Gus, what are you doing here?
Could I tell you in there? It's cold out here.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Gus, what are you doing here?
That's what I come to ask you.
I asked you first.
We have lunch today at the lodge, my little brother.
Yes.
Last week we agree I would come and give you a ride.
It's 5:15, Gus. It's not even daylight.
I am a little early.
Yes, about 6 hours and 15 minutes early. To tell the truth, I did not remember we had our lunch today.
Well, you're not remembering much anymore, my friend.
Yes, I know. Sorry, Gus.
Nice place you have here. You look awful, but now you can go to the house and draw a hot bath.
Nettie called you, sent you out here to have a talk with me?
Yeah, and I promised I would not tell that, so you must not tell on me, or she will give me all of hell for sure.
Okay. Well, talk to me, Gus.
I remember in Wallace, before we had our own Masonic lodge up there, you would travel all the way to Spokane just to go to the meetings.
Yes?
Now you forget you have a meeting just downtown.
Yes, I know. I'm not doing well, Gus.
Maybe this is no thing of my business, but are your books current and carefully attended to?
Yes, I met yesterday, no, 2 days ago, I think, and all was well.
Have you reviewed your new statement from the bank with Mr. Toohey?
No, not yet, but I plan to go down day after tomorrow.
No, that will be Sunday.
Sunday? Oh, yes.
Did you respond to that offer on the theater building?
No.
Nettie says you do not eat well and do not sleep good. She says you come down here all of the time now, most of the nights, and have long talks with May. And your diabetes. When was your last time with the doctor?
A week ago, I think.
Nettie says you did not go.
Well, Nettie should become a Pinkerton detective.
She worries for you. Now I worry for you. This reminds me of the mine tunnel. What is this place?
This was May's place to write.
Too cold to hold a pencil in here. You can't talk with May where it is warm.
Gus, in those days when you went down that prospect hole in the ground, when you were 500 feet down the Hercules mine by yourself with nothing but a candle and a pick and a shovel, were you ever scared?
Scared? Yeah. Then I would light a long fuse to a dynamite and then hurry crawl back to cover up at the hiding place. Then it did not blow. Then I was scared. Then I had to find out why it did not blow. Then I was scared that it would blow.
Well, my fear was that I'd be trapped down there, that the tunnel would cave in and I couldn't find any way out.
Well, I know the way out now, so you just follow me.
I don't mean out of this shed, Gus.
I know. I know what you mean.
I love doing things for May. Looking out for her, advising her, supporting her causes. She was most often the one who chose the path we followed. Now I don't know the path to follow.
But you managed the investing and the building.
But now without May, nothing seems important anymore, do you see? Nothing seems important without May.
Al, I met you first when my milk wagon broke down when I was passing over the railroad tracks in Wallace. But you stopped the train and helped me to fix it. Remember?
Yes.
While we fixed the wagon, you talked to me about working in the Hercules mine with you. I had no money, but you said I could earn shares by working. So I did. And it was good advice. Look at us now, millionaires, eh? Millionaire orphans. You, and me, and me. I owe you for that.
You're the one that put a cake into that silver vein, Gus.
But you gave the pick to me. I would still be a milkman except for you. Now, I have advice that you should listen. Out there, you will learn to live with your sadness. What you need to do now is come to the Mason's Lodge with me. See your friends or drive your auto up the river. Come to my house. The children want to see you. There is a pulao, they say. Al, you need to follow me out this door. May is not in here, Al.
She is, Gus. Her journal and poems she wants me to read.
This place will make you more sick and more sad. This is no place that May would want you to be.
Not ready.
May would want you to let her go. Al! When I last saw May in her bed, she asked me to promise 2 things. The first was that I'd dig her grave. I did that. Then she said to promise that I would take good care of you. I promised her that I would, and I will not break that promise, Al Hutton.
She asked you that?
Yeah.
Okay, but I need to take May's journal and this book of poems.
Okay, good. Okay. And all these other books, and pages, and poems, Nettie will gather and take
May,
inside. Tell May to come with us. But tell her, hurry. Tell her, be just like a very short fuse.
Okay, all right. Okay, guys.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Hutton.
Morning, Nettie. Nettie, would you have time today to start boxing up all of May's books and papers from the poetry shed?
I surely I will.
I'll ask Ezra and Bert to carry them in and up to the library. Will you create a plan to organize them on the shelves?
Yes, sir, right away.
Would you mind if we have a guest for breakfast?
Oh, no problem at all. Who would that be, Mr. Hutton?
Well, Mr. Paulson here, he just happened to stop by, unexpected.
Oh, well, Mr. Paulson! What a nice surprise.
Here, Nettie. I won't need that anymore. Thank you.
I know you two are there. And you were, Mr. Hutton. You're going to help me box up and tote all them books directly after breakfast.
Yes, Miss Eddie.
Al? Al! I am off to meet Mrs. Dunaway to plan our suffrage campaign.
May, we need to talk about Lily.
Oh, sorry. We were going to do that at breakfast. Oh, what about Lily?
Preacher Goodwin finished the travel arrangements. He says Lily can go tomorrow morning.
Go? Where?
To Dayton, to her Uncle Fred's.
But I thought she was going to be here for 3 weeks.
It has been 3 weeks. May, Lily doesn't want to go. She likes it here with us. I like having her here.
Well, I do too, but didn't we decide that she needed to be with family?
Yes, we did, but in his last letter, her uncle said she was going to be a burden. I know what being a burden is like, May. So do you.
Can we talk about this tomorrow? I'm really, really late
You
now.
need to promise, May.
I promise. I promise. At 4 p.m.
Wow, Mrs. Hutton, you look fancy.
Well, when you want to get people to listen, first you have to get their attention. This outfit sure gets their attention.
My mom said you dress like the Queen of Sheba.
Well, I think she was right. What are you going to do today, Lily? You two will have a great time. Catch enough fish for dinner.
Lily, have you ever been fishing before?
Once with my daddy, I caught a sunfish.
Good for you. Here, this is May's fishing pole.
Thanks.
Well,
Mr. Hutton,
yes?
don't you like children?
What makes you think I don't like children, Lily?
Well, you don't have any. How come?
Well, May and I have lots of children, Lily. Sort of. You see, when we married, May had made up her mind that she wanted to do everything she could to help other people. She wanted to help lots of other people, so that's the way she spends her time. I call them her causes. Here, let's sit. You see, Lily, May's causes are like children. She gives her causes the same time and energy and love that other mothers give to their children.
What about you, Mr. Hutton? Don't you want to have children?
What I want more than anything is for May to be happy.
I've never seen anyone like her.
I've never seen anyone like her either. I liked her right away.
When did she ask you to marry her?
She didn't ask me, I asked her.
Gee, how'd you get the courage?
One day I just up and said, I love you, May. And I said, so will you marry me? She said, you want to marry me? I said, I sure do. And she looked me straight in the eyes and she said, I would be honored to marry you, Al Hutton. And then she started to cry.
Why was she crying, Mr. Hutton?
That's what I asked her. She said, because I'm so happy.
I think that's
That's why May and I turned that into a park. We love hearing the children playing.
Yes, truth is, I don't mind it so much myself. You're meeting at the Crittenden homes in 1 hour. They'll be so happy to see you. I'll remind Bert to have your auto ready.
No, Nettie, but thank you. I'm driving myself today.
Oh, good, Mr. Hutton. It sure is nice to have your old self back again.
Hey, you boys, come back here. Come. Oh, Lordy, Lordy.
It's all the commotion, Ezra.
Well, Miss one of those boys, he just bought baseball right through the front window of Miss May's automobile. Look. Broke that window to pieces.
The poor thing.
I thought May's Rio was in the garage.
Well, sir, it has been. But since you decided to sell it, I thought I'd, start it up, clean it up. I'm so sorry, Mr. Al.
No fault of yours, Ezra.
Mr. Hutton, you're selling May's Red Rio?
Yes, Nettie, I am. I'm sorry I didn't think to tell you, but there's just no good reason for keeping that auto.
No good reason? Beautiful, bright red Rio. It was May's pride and joy.
Yes, well, let's just say it was perfect for May, but a little too bright red for me.
Well, I'm not going to be the one to tell May about this. Your auto doesn't even have a roof on it.
Ezra, please clean up the glass and take May's Rio back inside. We'll postpone the sale until I get a new front window.
What about them runoff boys?
Or you think you can catch up with them?
Probably not. They got a pretty good head start on me.
Hutton,
Yes?
my name's Silas Drury. I live in the old Winslow place just down the hill.
Yes, sir, I know your place.
Boy has something to fess up to. Well, go on, tell him.
I hit the baseball and broke the window on your auto.
And then,
And then I ran away.
and I just happened to be looking up this way for the boy because he was supposed to be working, not playing baseball.
Wow. Nettie, please call the Crittenden home and tell them that,
That you've been unavoidably detained and to start the meeting without you.
yes, thank you.
Hello, Timothy. Are you collecting for the spokesman review?
Timmy's our paper boy.
No, he's not collecting, Nettie. So what would you like to see happen here, Mr. Drury?
Well, I don't have money to pay for no fancy auto window glass. I want the boy to work off whatever he owes you.
Would you be willing to do that, Timmy?
He don't have no choice. I don't want people saying I shirk my responsibilities.
Mr. Drury, this is Ezra Walker. He's in charge of maintenance around here.
Morning, Mr. Drury.
Ezra, would you have some work that Timmy could help you do?
Oh, yes, Mr. Al. I already got a couple things in mind.
I think 10 hours would be fair.
Yes, that would be fair.
He can start in on the first 2 right now, no time like the
I
present.
suppose, Ezra.
Good. You be home by 1 p.m., boy.
I was coming back, Mr. Hutton. Oh, up to it. I was when my uncle caught up to me, and I told him what I did and that I was headed here.
What did he say?
He asked me if anyone at the house actually saw me break the window.
And?
I said, Mr. Ezra probably did, because he was watching us play for a while.
Why did you feel you needed to come back?
Because your wife, Mrs. Hutton, she was always really nice to me.
When you came to collect for the paper?
Well, yes, and would have hit a ball through a greenhouse window.
Yes, sir, that happened. But I didn't want to bother you with that.
Well, you ought to be playing for the Yankees, boy. Nothing's safe around here when you're up to bat. So what did Mrs. Hutton do about that window, Timmy?
Well, she said my shoes were all worn out, so she had me come inside and gave me a brand new pair and some ice cream.
Pretty severe punishment, I'd say.
Oh no, Mr. Hutton. Sometimes I heard she was kind of mean, but she wasn't mean to me at all. I liked her a lot. I guess that's why I started back.
Timmy, were you the boy down there by the trolley stop the evening of Mrs. Hutton's funeral?
Yes, sir.
Well, how come I've never met you before?
I don't know, Mr. Hutton. I come by about 3:30 this afternoon on my paper route.
Just after school's out?
I guess so. I don't go to school.
Why not?
Uncle says he needs help on his place.
Mr. Drury's your uncle.
Yes, sir.
Well, where are your parents, son?
They're gone, Mr. Hutton. So Uncle Silas took me in.
See. So your uncle probably has children too, huh?
4, sir. 3 boys and a girl, but she's just a baby.
Do those boy cousins go to school?
Yes, sir.
I see. How many kids were out there playing ball with you this afternoon?
Maybe 7 or so?
Well, Ezra and I have been thinking a lot lately about building a baseball field right out there. Haven't we?
Well, yes, Miss Al, now that she mentioned it. But we figured we need some help, didn't we?
Yes, we did. And Timmy could help with that, couldn't you? Work off the cost of the broken window?
Well, yes, I'd like to help, but we already got a field, don't we?
Oh, no, Tim. What Mr. Hutton's talking about is a real baseball field. One with a big backstop, and bases that anchor into the ground, and benches, and the pitcher's mound.
Really?
Yes, and maybe you can get some of the other kids to help us too.
I'm sure they would, Mr. Hutton. They're just hiding in those trees over there right now.
They are, huh? Good, yes, you can ask them to help, but the first thing we need to do is make a sketch of how we want to lay out this baseball field so you won't be able to break any more windows.
Yes, sir.
Well, must go to a meeting, but Ezra here knows more than plenty about baseball, so he'll be in charge.
Thanks, Mr. Hutton.
You're welcome, son.
Now, Timmy, remind me, what's the distance between home plate and the pitcher's mound?
Well, in the big leagues, it's 60 feet, 6 inches. But we pitch from 45 feet, because we're just kids.
Yes. Yes, you are.
just met Timmy Drury, our paper boy. A nice boy. He said he's not enrolled in school. Did you know that? I suspect not, or he would be in school. I'm going to see his uncle, Mr. Drury, tomorrow, and I will advise him of the Washington state law regarding the mandatory attendance of children Timmy's age. Oh, and by the way, Timmy told me that you gave him a new pair of shoes last fall. I suspect you did that for every boy and girl in the entire city of Spokane when I was not looking. No wonder that shoe store of ours never showed a profit. Oh, and Timmy, he said you were a real nice lady. I told him I thought so too.
Did you tell May you're selling her red Rio? No, the one with the broken wheel.
I was just about to tell her, Nettie.
Well then,
May, I broke the front window of your Rio. Having it fixed right away, but since I have my Thomas Flyer and you don't really need the Rio, what do you think of giving it to the Ladies Benevolent Society to help out with the operations at the children's home? They could really use it. Good for you, May. Well, I have to run. Are you happy now, Nettie?
I suppose.
Nettie, please tell May I love her.
Yes, sir. I will.
On the first Tuesday of June, 1916, I called on Al, hoping for an interview, but he was
Gone for today. But if you head down to the Spokane Children's Home, you might just bump into him there.
Well, I hurried on over. I was not going to miss this. Today was going to be Al's first board meeting since May's passing. He would be presenting the treasurer's report to a small group of ladies who made up the finance committee. But it struck me as a time that would be loaded with emotion. He had long been absent, their faithful benefactor, the husband of their beloved May. They had missed him enormously and were eager to have him back. But they were nervous about what to say, how to welcome him. I got there just as Al began to speak.
I regret that I have often been absent over the winter, but I know that my treasurer's report has been well presented by Mrs. Lewis. Before we begin discussion on the status of our mortgage and operating expenses, I would like to make one announcement. My beloved wife May interrupted my sleep last night and announced that since she was no longer in the need of an automobile, that she was empowering me to offer to the Ladies Benevolent Society her 1914 bright red Rio. She insisted that this automobile was not on loan, but rather an outright gift. She hopes that it will help lessen the burden of collecting the food and clothing each week. Knowing that many of the board ladies do not drive, May further stated that this gift included the services of her longtime and highly capable chauffeur, Bertram McDougal, whenever his services are necessary. I consulted with Bertram this morning on our way to this meeting, and he said that he was...
I am ready, willing, and able.
The board ladies exploded in their delight for such a gift. But I could not help but see that the real jubilation was the realization that Al Hutton was back and that he was going to be just fine.
Oh my goodness.
What a wonderful thing you have done, Mr. Hutton. Will you please tell your wife how very much we appreciate her gift and that we send her our love?
Of course. Thank you, Mrs. Payne.
Mr. Hutton, yesterday I enrolled a Timothy Drury in the 4th grade. He was accompanied by a Mr. Silas Drury. He listed you as a reference.
Yes, he's my neighbor and Timmy's uncle and legal guardian.
Well, Timmy was very excited and wanted to start school immediately. I told him he'd have to wait until Monday, that we don't have school on Saturday and Sunday. He's late starting school for sure, but he seems a fine boy and bright. I'm sure he'll quickly catch up to his grade level with a little extra help from me.
Thank you, Mrs. Payne.
Yes, of course.
Mrs. Payne, would you have a few minutes to help me solve a problem?
Of course, Mr. Hutton.
Thank you. I suppose you know that I have very little formal education.
Only because May told me so, Mr. Hutton.
May told me that you graduated from Oberlin College in Ohio.
Not far from where May was born.
May I ask what you studied at Oberlin?
Primarily music, piano and organ especially.
Did you study any poetry there?
Oh, yes, those were some of my favorite classes.
Well, have you read any of the poems of this fella, William Wordsworth?
Oh, Mr. Hutton.
What?
That is actually my book. I loaned it to May early last fall. Yes, just before she passed.
Oh, I just came upon it recently.
Where was it hiding?
When May liked to write, she would go out to that little shed just behind the house.
Yes, she took me there once. It was rough-hewn.
After May died, I closed up that shed, but I've been visiting it often in the past month.
Yes, Mr. Hutton, I understand.
I found this book a few nights back, and then I found this note looking like it was a bookmark on this page.
For Al at Plant's Ferry.
We planned a picnic there, but May suddenly became very ill and was confined to her bed. We never had that picnic. I didn't see that poem until a few days ago.
My heart leaps up.
You know
Oh, my. Yes, Mr. Hutton, I know it.
Well, I think this was the last poem that May read. She clearly wanted to share it with me, but I have a strong sense that there's a message in this poem from May to me. I hope you don't think that's silly, Mrs. Payne.
Not at all. In fact, I recall May saying she wanted to have you read this. You have read it then?
Yes, I have, and I liked it, but I did not understand some things. Would you read it for me?
Of course. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began, so is it now I am a man. So be it when I shall grow old, or let me die. The child is father of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety.
It is this line, Mrs. Payne, that I can't make sense of, and it seems it's the most important line.
The child is father of the man.
Yes.
You are not the only person to be mystified by that line, Mr. Hutton. I was too. I finally came to the conclusion that Wordsworth was saying that who we will become as an adult is established when we are very young, as children, both the positive and the negative traits. The children of today in the circle of life are the fathers and mothers of tomorrow.
What happens to the children without parents to plant those seeds and nurture them?
Life can be very difficult for them. Too often those children are tossed to the wind. I found it interesting that Mr. Wordsworth was an orphan by the time he was 15 years old.
Tossed to the wind?
Yes, and that's where we come in, Mr. Hutton, all of us who work at the children's home. We plant the seeds. We nurture, we protect on behalf of the absent parents.
And how are we doing, Mrs. Payne?
We do our best each and every day, given the facility and the number of children and our limited resources. We would be lost without your generosity, Mr. Hutton.
Maybe May is nudging me to do more.
I only know there is nothing more important for children than the security and guidance of loving parents.
Nothing more important. Thank you very much.
Please, no. This belongs to you now. May I suggest, Mr. Hutton, that you take a nice drive up the river to Plant's Ferry. It's a beautiful day.
Hey, Al. Want some company?
Not even quite sure where I'm going, Russ.
I'm not either. We're already in the same boat.
I've got some things to think over. I'll probably just head up the river.
Up by Plants Ferry, huh? Near that spot where you and May and I had that picnic when you first came to Spokane.
Are all newspaper men as persistent as you, Russell?
Only the very best ones. You know, sometimes it really does help to talk out your thoughts to a thoughtful and trusted friend like me.
You mean Wordsworth. All right, let's go.
Wordsworth?
An English poet. A romantic poet, I'm told.
Oh, yes, William Wordsworth. Yeah, a rather nice old chap, William. Had tea with him a while back. So how's he doing?
I don't know, Russ. He's been dead for 40 years.
Ah, must have been thinking of another William Wordsworth.
Probably. Well, let's go.
That spring day was bright and sunny, but the breeze carried a bit of a chill, I recall. Holy cow, Al, how come you don't have a roof on this auto?
I'm afraid people will think I'm too big for my britches.
Yeah, like Daniel Chase Corbin racing through the streets of Spokane, all closed up in his fancy coach with the curtains drawn.
Yeah, the driver cracking the whip on that pair of beautiful horses. People begin to think you feel you're better than that. Not like that, but I don't want people to think that I am.
Well, we started out into the valley, heading on the highway east, when we turned on a north-running road, crossed the railroad tracks at Millwood, and then continued east, following the river upstream. In about half a mile, Al suddenly stopped and pulled at the side of the road. My God, Al, what's so urgent? He pointed out two young girls riding on an old farm horse, coming down a steep path toward the road. Al just sat there and watched, and we listened to their laughter.
It's a beautiful sound, isn't it, Russ?
Yes. Yes, it is. I did not interrupt these minutes by talking. I just sat and watched. I'm certain that for some time Al forgot I was even there. Down the path the girls came, crossing one of Corbin's irrigation canals. The big bay horse was splashing water, and the girls were giggling and shrieking at the cold.
Come on, Russell. I want to talk to them.
We met them as they crossed the road where their path came down to the river.
Girls, you live nearby?
Our pa has a farm. It's up the hill there.
Oh, so that means you two must be sisters.
Yes, sir. I'm Patty, and I'm 9. And she's Bonnie, and she is 11.
We're not 9, Patty. You're 8.
Well, I will be 9 when school starts.
Yes, you will be 9 in September.
I will be in the 3rd grade, just over there at the school.
I will be in the 6th grade.
Are you headed down to the river?
Daddy wants us to give Miss Maudie a bath.
She hasn't had a bath all winter.
Well, then I'd say she's about due, I said, just to join the conversation.
Well, yeah, I think it would be all right if we climbed up that hill.
I don't know what possessed him to ask that question, but I knew immediately that I was in for a climb too.
Daddy don't care.
Daddy doesn't care. There's a plank across the ditch over there if you don't want to get all wet.
The irrigation canal?
Yeah, my dad calls it Corbin's ditch. We have to go. Daddy will be here soon.
Yes, well, thank you, girls.
Just follow the path.
So, let's follow the path, Russell.
You really want to climb all the way up there?
Yes, I do.
Why?
I don't know.
I thought we were going to read Wordsworth and talk.
We'll do both, but there, come on.
Al took off up the path. What could I do but follow? Al climbed, not just steady, but fast and furious. He climbed like a man compelled. like there was something up there waiting for him, something he desperately needed to find. I couldn't keep up, but I followed.
God, it's absolutely beautiful. Hey, Russ, look at this.
Let me catch my breath.
This is the place, Russ. This is the place.
What place?
She sent me here, Russ.
Who is she?
May. She sent me here. Thank you, May.
What are you talking
Oh,
about?
it's perfect. Away from the city, space to run, the river, horses, farmland. What child would not love this place? I love you, May Hutton!
Well, that alarmed me. Now, are you all right, Al?
The child is father of the man. That's not a funeral bell tolling, is it, Russ?
No.
Good. You won't have to carry me down the mountain.
That's just what I was thinking.
Help me up, Russ, will you?
Steady, Al. My God, Al, what was that all about?
It's all clear now, Russ. I didn't know, and now I do.
Great. That's just great. Can you tell me what you're talking about?
Oh, I can't tell you now.
Can't. You can't.
Not yet.
When?
Soon.
Very soon?
I think so, yes.
You won't tell anyone else before you tell me, right?
Right. You'll be the first to know.
You promise?
I promise.
It's good enough for me. Well, are you ready? We'll take it nice and slow. You go first. When we got to the bottom of that damn hill, there was a truck parked behind Al's Thomas Flyer.
Howdy, fellas.
Hope you don't mind us climbing the hill. The girls said they thought it'd be okay.
Hi, Daddy! Yes, it's okay. Those two girls are my daughters. My name is Obermuller, Frank Obermuller.
Yeah.
And you are Levi Hutton.
Yes, and this is my friend Russell Bankson. It's a beautiful stretch of land seeing it up from there. Suppose you know who owns it?
The Spokane Valley Water Company owns 111 acres to run back up into the trees. That would be Mr. D.C. Corbin. But up above there, adjoining, I have a 14-acre place. And up that way, that belongs to Jacob Schrank. He has right out 14 acres himself.
Do you know if it's for sale?
I'm not certain about Schrank, but Corbin's land is definitely for sale. So is mine. Are you interested in buying?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm very interested.
Yes,
Good afternoon, madam.
Mr. Corbin is resting and does not wish to be
I
disturbed.
understand. I read about his recent accident. I believe you would see me if he's not resting.
And what is your name, please?
L.W. Hutton.
Oh, yes, excuse me, Mr. Hutton, I recognize you now. Let me ask. Step in for the moment, please, Mr. Hutton. I will be back shortly.
I'm sorry, I suddenly feel I've been rude.
Oh, no, sir, please. He says come up.
I can come up, damn it! I can barely move, but I can hear just fine.
He's on the balcony getting some air.
Well, by God, Hutton, it is you.
Yes, sir, it is. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has. Well, I have to forego the usual shaking of hands, Hutton. As you can see, I'm a bit broken up.
Yes, I'm sorry. I read about your fall in the newspaper.
I was in the newspaper. Well, they still consider me newsworthy, eh? Although people believed I had passed on to some other world.
No, sir, you are still newsworthy.
Sit, Hutton, sit down, sit down. So tell me what they wrote about me in the newspapers so I can see if they got it right for once.
Well, they said you slipped and fell in your suite atop the old National Bank building.
That damn highly polished terrazzo floor.
Broken your leg.
Yes, and my shoulders nearly. Sprained my wrist badly and was further adorned with a dozen bruises and contusions. Well, I am 86 years old and been remarkably free of such accidents throughout my life. I suppose I was due for one good battering before I died. Oh, Hutton, this is my wife, Anna. I guess you met downstairs.
We met, but I did not know Anna was your wife. My apologies, Mrs. Corbin.
Daniel has had his tea, but I could bring you a cup, Mr. Hutton.
No, but thank you, Mrs. Corbin. You are well looked after, I see.
Sit down, Yes, I suppose I am. Surely you read about our marriage, didn't you? Big scandal, because Anna was half my age.
Yes, I do recall a little of that.
A little. Spokane society did not welcome her with open arms. It's been pretty much just her and me here these last few years, with occasional visits from my very busy son. Sometimes I think Anna is just waiting around for me to kick the bucket.
Well, I doubt that is true, Mr. Corbin.
You mark my words, Hutton. When it comes to money, your own family will slit each other's throats over who gets what and how much. Hell, when my first wife died 16 years ago, my own daughters sued me for her half of my estate. Get it? But they sure tried. I swear, Hutton, my funeral shroud is going to have plenty of pockets so I can take as much money as You don't have children, do you, Hutton?
No, I don't.
Well, consider yourself lucky.
No, sir. I did not choose to be childless. That was God's choice. Being orphaned and being childless are the only two regrets of my life.
By the way, I know I didn't send flowers or anything, but I was aware when your wife died last fall, and I'm sorry about that. I thought she was a hell of a woman, actually. I really didn't agree with a lot of what she was peddling about women's voting rights, and some of that nonsense about union wages. But that woman knew how to get things done. She would not take no for an answer.
Thank you, sir. I'll pass your comments along to May the next time we talk.
That's good. School bells, and those kids will be raising a ruckus, going home now. Well, Hutton, I know you didn't come up here for idle chit-chat with me. What's on your mind?
I want to buy some land from you.
You do?
Yes.
What land do you have in mind?
It's out in the valley, just east of Millwood.
And of course, you've already seen the property.
Yes, sir. I was out there this afternoon.
Yep, my irrigation canal runs through most of that property. And I see you already visited my representative, Mr. Becker.
Yes, sir. He was out of his office, but I did get this map from his secretary.
Pasadena Park. How much land do you have in mind?
111 acres.
111? No more, no less? What are the plot numbers?
Plat 3 tracks 164 to 173 and 189 to 192.
Oh, yes. Nice piece of property. Tucked in by those hills to the north, and I stand of pines along here. And that precipice overlooking the river coming in from the east. I'm surprised, Hutton. You must have a big project in the planning.
Yes, I do.
When did you decide to buy?
About 3 hours ago.
I've always heard you were cautious and deliberate in business, Hutton. Always getting every detail accounted for, always scrutinizing every aspect before moving on a purchase.
Yes, sir, I'd say that is correct.
Well, this sounds, what, impetuous?
I've known very clearly what I wanted for over 40 years. Today, I saw it.
Well, I am curious, Hutton. What do you plan to do with 111 acres?
Actually, I suspect I'll need 2 to 3 times that number of acres if I can find adjoining property for sale.
Well. I know you used to do some farming as a youngster, but I doubt you're going back into that after all these years. Are you buying up my property as a real estate investment?
No, sir. What I buy, I will not resell, but I can't share my plans at this time. I promised someone I would not announce it until the property and other considerations are settled.
Good for you, Hutton. You know, those government Commerce Commission fellows, newspaper reporters were always asking me questions like, what did it cost you to build that railroad up into the Coeur d'Alenes or up into Canada? And I tell them, none of your damn business. So you're right, Hutton. It's none of my damn business.
So you'll sell me the land?
Hell yes, I'll sell it to you.
Thank you.
Aren't you going to ask me the selling price?
I met a local out there today. Told me the going rate.
$264.22 an acre. That whole valley was more like $20 an acre before I brought water in.
So 111 acres at $264.22 an acre, that's $29,328.42. I have 22 cents with me for the earnest money.
Aren't you going to make a counter offer?
No, sir. I think that is a fair price.
You know, for years, people around here have been saying that I am the richest man in Spokane. Are they wrong about that now?
Are we talking about money?
Is there any other way to measure rich?
Yes, sir. I believe so.
You're going to give your money away, aren't you?
No, I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to create something that I've dreamed of since I was 14 years old.
You are a romantic, Al Hutton?
It's the second time I've heard that term today, romantic. Just what is a romantic, Mr. Corbin?
I'd say it is someone who sees the world the way they would like it to be, instead of the way it really is.
Well, I guess I'm all right with being called a romantic, with maybe one slight change to that definition.
What would that be?
I see a change that must be made that will make life a whole lot better for a large number of people. I'm going to invest in that change.
You could have done this deal with my representative, Mr. Becker. How come you came up here on the cliff?
Mr. Corbin, when I was not yet 10 years old, I lost my parents. I was passed around in the family, but ended up living with and working for an uncle in Iowa. One day I was working out in the fields, and I stopped hoeing and looked to the west and saw a train against the sunset, leaving a long trail of smoke behind. Then I heard my uncle coming up from behind me on a horse, and he said, "I ain't giving you room and board for standing out here watching trains go by." I said, "Someday, I'm going to be an engineer on a train just like that." He said, "You'll be lucky if you end up shoveling manure or digging ditches." Then he told me to finish up the row I was working and head up to the house if I wanted anything hot for dinner.
Well, you showed him.
Yeah, I became an engineer. And I spent 8 years engineering the train up in those Coeur d'Alenes on tracks that you laid.
Yes, I did do that. And I heard you were engineering.
And I never took the opportunity to thank you for that, so I thought it was time to get that done. Thank you, Mr. Corbin.
You are welcome. Your shroud will have no pockets, will it, Al?
No, it will not. Thank you.
Well, I will call Mr. Becker within the hour and arrange a meeting for tomorrow, you and him. How would 3 p.m. be?
That'll be fine. Thank you, Mr. Corbin. Mr. Corbin, if you wanted to track down a bell from one of the old locomotives up in the Coeur d'Alene mining district, who would you talk to?
Which locomotive are you talking about? What was the number?
109.
Oh, they've sold all of those off years ago, different places, to the logging companies and such. Could be anywhere by now. Canada maybe, who knows? Why do you want a bell?
I'm not quite sure. Well, thank you, Mr. Corbin. I know my way out. I hope you have a quick recovery.
Thank you. But it won't be quick, I know that. I am a realist, Al.
Do you want to take a rest now?
No. I want to go to my library. I need to find the whereabouts of an old locomotive. More precisely, its bell.
May I be of help?
Yes, I'm looking for Mr. Hutton's office. Oh, you're Mr. Hutton.
Yes, I am. I also know where my office is. Here we are.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Sorry, do I know you?
No, sir, not yet. My name is Charles Gonzer.
Yes, you're my first appointment this morning.
Yes, I suppose I'm a little early.
No, you're right on time. I'm late. I was daydreaming as I walked this morning.
Do you walk to work every morning, sir?
No, but as often as possible.
That's quite a walk.
Do you know where I live?
Oh, yes, sir, I do. I suppose only a few people in Spokane do not.
Do you mind if I call you Charles?
No, certainly.
Good, thank you. Please, come in.
Thank you.
And do you mind if we dispense with addressing me as sir? I did not have the honor of serving my country in any conflict, and if I had, I likely would not have been an officer.
What may I call you?
Let's start with Mr. Hutton. Is that all right?
Certainly, sir. Certainly, Mr. Hutton.
Do you always rise bright and early, Charles?
Yes, sir, I do. Well, perhaps more early than bright.
We're here. I had my secretary this morning. I wanted some time with you without interruption.
Oh, well, thank you.
Please, put your hat and coat beside mine there, Charles. Well, I have noticed that you are tall, aren't you, Charles?
I'm 6 foot and 4 inches, Mr. Hutton.
I'm not that tall myself. Please, sit before you do damage to my neck. There, that is better. Well, besides being tall, you are young, aren't you, Charles?
I'm 21 years old.
Well, never tall, but I was 21 once.
Yes, I read that you were. You and my father Jacob share the same birth year, 1860.
I hope your father is well.
He's very well. He's a farmer and he still farms every day.
Good for him. But could you tell me a little bit about your family, Charles?
Certainly. Well, my father Jacob came from Germany in 1875. I realize that's not a very popular homeland right now.
I assume he became an American citizen.
With great pride, he did, yes.
Then he is an American. My ancestors lived in England, but my parents immigrated to Iowa, so they were Americans, as I am. But please, go on.
Well, my father met my mother Clara in Nebraska, and they were married shortly after, in 1891 near rural Richardson County, Nebraska.
I know that territory. It's about as far east as you can get in Nebraska, isn't it?
Yes, it is, right on the banks of the Missouri River, and that's where I was born in 1897.
How's that? We were practically neighbors, your father and I. Do you have any siblings, Charles?
Yes, 2 sisters, Mabel Martha and Norma Catherine, and 1 brother, Harry. I was the youngest.
And how did you like Nebraska?
Well, truthfully, Mr. Hutton, I don't remember much of Nebraska. See, we moved to Walla Walla area when I was just 2 years old.
I believe your letter said that you went to grade school and high school in Walla Walla.
Yes.
So you grew up working on your father's farm.
My father and mother's farm. Yes.
I can hear my wife scolding me for omitting your mother that way.
My mother doesn't work any less than my father. He's a very hard worker.
I also farmed at a young age, Charles, although it was usually for one of my uncles. My parents died when I was just a boy.
Yes, I knew that, Mr. Hutton. I'm sorry.
To have your family around you for support and guidance is a great blessing, Charles.
Yes, it truly is, Mr. Hutton.
So how'd you end up in Spokane?
Well, after I graduated high school, I enrolled in Spokane Expert School of Business.
I know that school, just down the street. I have 2 graduates from that school working for me now.
Yes, I knew that. I'm hoping to be the 3rd.
How did you do at school, Charles?
I did well, sir.
You did? From what I've seen, I'd say you did very well. Your transcript shows you finished the 2-year program in 1 year, and your scores were excellent.
Thank you.
And your teachers sent me glowing letters of recommendation.
Thank you for telling me that, Mr. Hutton.
You're not inclined to be a braggart, are you, Charles?
My father, to this day, still reminds me that there's no need to go around bragging about yourself. Just do your work and do it well, he said. Other people will do the bragging for you.
Father's a wise man.
I think so, Mr. Hutton.
Charles, now you know I'm looking for someone who will start out as a clerk.
Well, I would be happy to start as a clerk, Mr. Hutton, but if I didn't show very soon that I was capable of more difficult work, I would be disappointed in myself.
But you would be. Now, I'm sure you know that I have built, purchased, and invested in a number of properties in Spokane and throughout the region, and God willing, I have much more to do. Can you point out through this window the properties that I own?
Yes, I can. Would you like me to?
No, that won't be necessary. It has never been my purpose to simply make money. I want this community to grow and prosper. I want to meet like-minded people, to be a part of what I plan to do in the days ahead. When I die, Charles, I don't want to be known for the money I had. I would like to be known for the way I used the money I had. You know a great deal about me, don't you, Charles?
Yes, I do. It's not difficult to gather information on you and Mrs. Hutton. And besides, I felt it was important to know what properties you hold and, well, your reputation.
What is my reputation?
It's glowing, Mr. Hutton. Other people brag about you.
There's a letter in your file that says that you accepted a job with a company in Boise, Idaho some time ago.
That is an error, Mr. Hutton. I was offered the job, but I turned it down.
Would you mind me asking why you did not accept?
No, I don't mind. I preferred the opportunity to work with you.
Well, that's very kind. Thank you. Well, what about your availability, Charles?
See, that's where the problem is, Mr. Hutton. See, just yesterday I joined the United States Navy.
Join the Navy?
Yes. I'm to take a physical within the next 10 days, which I fully expect to pass. I'll be assigned for training in 2 weeks.
Well, good for you, although I'm sorry I won't be able to put you to work this very day.
Yes, I expected that, of course, but I wanted to meet you, hoping we could talk when the armistice is reached.
Good morning, Gladys.
Good morning, Mr. Hutton.
Gladys is the very best secretary in all of Spokane. This is Mr. Charles Gonser, Gladys. He has rearranged my entire day through no fault of his own.
Hello, Mr. Gonson.
Hello.
Mr. Gonser is a new employee, Gladys, that is, if he accepts. Will you accept the job offer, Charles?
Wait, Mr. Hutton, are you hiring me? Today?
Yes, that is correct, if you accept.
But as I said, I'm leaving for active duty in 2 weeks without any idea when I will be back.
Yes, I understand. Will you accept the job?
Oh. Yes, I will.
Good,
Thank
Charles.
you.
Very good. And when this war is over, it would be good to have a job to come home to and a place to call home.
Yes, it certainly will. Thank you, Mr. Hutton.
Gladys, please call Bert and have him bring the auto here, and tell him please to be prepared to drive Mr. Gonzer and myself upriver for most of the day. That is, unless you have something planned.
Well, no, sir. Nothing I cannot change.
Good, good. But you need to promise me that when this war is over, you'll come back here and begin your professional life with me as soon as you possibly can.
Would you like me to promise you now?
Yes, I would.
All right, then. I promise.
That's good enough for me. Gladys is our witness. I'll be back in just a moment.
That was truly astonishing.
Doesn't surprise me in the least, Charles.
Is there some paperwork or anything I need to fill out?
Yeah, if you sit here at Mr. Hutton's desk, we'll get started on your file.
Thank you.
Left in the house, Nettie?
Don't you worry, Mr. Hutton. I won't let you starve. Be out of job then, wouldn't I?
I only asked for sandwiches and lemonade for Mr. Whitehouse and myself.
Well, you know, as soon as Bert and Ezra sees this food, they'll be around faster than bears just out of hibernation.
I suppose.
Oh, they'll be here all right. And those kids playing on your baseball field.
Yeah?
Well, there's something in here for each of them. You wouldn't want them to go hungry, now would you?
No, I don't, Nettie. Thank you. You're absolutely correct.
Yes, sir. Don't go pawing around in that basket till noon, Ezra Walker.
Mr. Hutton, I finished off that tilling in the garden.
Thank you, Ezra. Please, help yourself. There's enough sandwiches in there to feed the entire U.S. Navy.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Hutton. Miss Al, the Reverend wanted me to ask if you'd like to attend our church tomorrow. He promised not to baptize you in the river.
I have plans tomorrow that I cannot change, but please tell the good Reverend I sent a check to help with that building project at the church.
Oh, thank you. You'll be mighty happy. There's Mr. Burt. Who's that with you?
Harold Whitehouse, I hope.
Whitehouse. He helped build your house, didn't he?
Yes, he did help. He designed it.
Hey, Mr. Hutton. We need a couple of outfielders again. Do you want to play for our team?
Hey, Mickey, you see that man coming this way with Bert? I have to meet with him, but this man here played in the big leagues, and he'd be happy to play, I'll bet.
You mean Ezra?
Yep.
Major League. Really?
Yes, ma'am. In the Negro League, yes.
Wow. What position did you play?
First base, mainly.
Did you hit home runs?
Home runs? Oh, yeah. I broke a few windows in my day.
Wow. Mr. McDougal, do you want to play with us too?
Well, sure, I'll play.
Did you play in the Negro League? Why not?
Well, they wouldn't let me play with them because I'm white.
That's not fair. Seems to me if you're good enough, you should be able to play. Come on, Mr. McDougal, you can play with us.
Hello, Al.
Hello, Al.
I just realized it's been some time since you were here, maybe since our open house.
Oh, no. I was here in the fall, briefly, when May held that Women for Peace rally. I brought my wife over that afternoon. And, of course, I was here last October for the funeral.
Yes, I'm sorry if I didn't speak with you that day.
There were about 1,000 people here.
Yes.
I talked with Gus Paulson this morning, just after you called. He said you made a solemn promise to come by the lodge on a regular basis now.
Yes, I did promise that, and I will.
You have all Mr.
Except for one boy, Timmy, who just hit that one. He's the one racing around the bases. I'll keep watch so we can take cover the next time he comes back.
Well, your message advised I bring a pad and pencil, so I am prepared.
Are you hungry? Nettie made a few sandwiches.
Oh, thank you. But I would like some of that lemonade. So, are you considering some changes to your home out?
Oh, no, I love this house, just the way May wanted it. I'll draw my last breath in this house. Now, is there such a thing as architect-client privilege?
Anything you tell me at this picnic is between you and me, and only you and me.
Hey, only one other person knows about this, and he's been sworn to secrecy until I have everything in place. Hal, I bought 111 acres on Thursday, and I'll be adding at least 30 more by this Friday, and I may well double that amount by midsummer if I can find adjoining properties for sale.
Okay, may I ask what you intend to do with all that land?
Yes, you may ask. It's the reason I asked you to join me. I want to build a home, but not for me. I want to build a home that'll be a safe and secure and beautiful place for orphans and children whose parents are unable to take care of them.
Al, when you say you're going to build it, does that mean you're going to bear the total cost?
Yes.
No partners, no state, no federal money.
Just me. I'll pay for it lock, stock, and barrel, but not just the construction, Hal. I don't want to build something that'll fail for lack of financing down the road. I'll endow it through my current properties and others in progress. And this endowment will guarantee regular maintenance and repairs and staffing and cost of operations, which of course would include clothing and feeding the children.
How many children are we talking about?
I imagine 70 to 80 at any one time.
Well, that's a lot of mouths to feed.
Yes, we'll plant gardens and orchards. We'll grow wheat and alfalfa. We'll raise livestock. There's no reason we can't largely feed ourselves.
That means a barn, maybe a silo, sheds, fences, workshops.
Yes, look, I was 6 years old when I became an orphan. I was shunted around and lived with lots of different people in the family. I ended up with one uncle who considered me a burden, even though I worked on his farm for room and board. I have the money. I can do this, and I want to do this more than anything in the world.
And are you going to manage it?
No, I'm not. As soon as it's built, I'm giving it to the Ladies Benevolent Society. They will own it. They will be the board of directors. I'll have a single vote on the board, and I'll be the treasurer.
You're going to give this children's home to them?
Yes. 21 smart, kind, dedicated, compassionate women. They'll do everything from hiring the staff to choosing the color of the tree.
I'm a bit surprised, Al. Overwhelmed by the size and scope of all this. Where will these kids come from? What about the children's home downtown?
The building's not adequate for kids to grow up in. We can do better than that. It's old, cold, and dark. There's no space to work, no space to play. It feels like a prison.
And how do you see me in this project?
I want you to be the architect, Hal.
I'm honored, thank you.
You're welcome.
But if I were to give you some advice, I'd suggest you interview some architects that have experience building orphanages. I know very little about orphanages.
I thought about that, Hal, and I thought I'd send you on a trip to the Midwest and the East Coast to visit the very best children's homes out there, to talk with the most experienced and successful people in the field.
That would take 4 to 6 months. You're fired up and ready to go.
I am eager to get started, very eager, but I will wait patiently if it means having you as the architect. I see only 2 potential problems. The first is that you would be gone from your home during those months. How would Catherine and the children feel about that?
I honestly can't say. We had a long separation when I was back at Cornell for graduate work.
I know, but if and when you have your discussion with Catherine, assure her, please, that we will help her in every way possible. Nettie, Bert, Ezra, and me will all chip in for transportation, housekeeping, groundskeeping, shopping.
That would make a huge difference, thank you. What's the second problem?
I want the Ladies Benevolent Society to be in on this from the very beginning. They'll be making most all of the decisions. It may be a test of your patience.
I did manage to work in harmony with the notorious May Arkwright Hutton, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I have no question of your knowledge, your skills, or your character, and I know your work firsthand. This will be my legacy, Hal. I want you to do this with me.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Well, yes. I don't know anything about farming, or farm buildings, or farm livestock. I've never gathered eggs or milked a cow.
I have more than enough experience in those categories, and I'll be along with you every step. And I'm sure Gus Paulson would be happy to be our consultant in the dairy business.
Is it possible for us to see the property today?
I was hoping you would ask. It's just a half-mile upriver from Millwood.
Can we stop by my house on the way?
Certainly.
I'd like to bring my daughter along. I did promise her an adventure this afternoon.
I've got just the adventure for you two. You both should wear some shoes for hiking. Who do you think's the best builder in Spokane, Al?
Paul L. Peterson.
Nettie! I'm going to tell him that no expense will be spared. I want the settlement to be built like the Rock of Gibraltar. Built the last 250 years. Built solidly, but also beautifully.
You said the settlement.
Yes, the Hutton settlement.
That's nice. It suggests community, peacefulness, and safety.
Look out, Hal!
Lily! Lily! Ah, Lily. I stopped off at Preacher Goodwin's on the way home. He contacted the minister in Dayton and, well, you don't have to go there. We'll take you to Spokane with us.
Oh, Auntie May!
And, we will find you a very nice home there.
Oh.
A wonderful home.
So I won't be living with you?
No, but Al and me, we'll make sure you go to the best school where there'll be lots of kids to play with. You'll have a grand time.
Come on, honey. Will you help get rid of these things packed, Nettie?
Thanks for letting me stay with you.
Tomorrow morning, bright and early, put on that new dress I got you. There was a time when I wanted nothing more than to be mother to a little girl. Just like Lily. But I can't do that now, Al. I've got so much I need to do, so many promises I've made.
You know, May, I would keep her in a heartbeat. It's not my choice alone, and it's not your choice alone. It's ours. We both would have to choose Lily. Wouldn't be fair to her otherwise. I chose you. I chose a woman with a need to crusade, with a need to change the world.
And that has come with great disappointments.
A few, yes, but no regrets.
Oh, I love you, Al Hutton.
wish I had listened to Nettie. Did I just say that? She told me to put a bench out here. I brought you some lilacs, May, from the bushes by the poetry shed. You remember? Maybe you remember? You love them so. These are full and fragrant, but their bloom is far too brief. Well, the construction's going well, May. I jotted down a few things I thought you might find interesting. Our lawyer, Mr. Glasgow, just arrived. Well, David, how did you know I was here? Never mind. Nettie strikes again?
She made me promise.
Yes, well, I won't tell any, David.
Thank you, Mr. Hutton.
Well, I just came out here to update May on the progress with the settlement.
I'm sorry to interrupt that, but I have news, and I thought I should speak with you as soon as possible.
This is not good news, is it, David?
No, it concerns May's will.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about it here?
No one to hear us excepting Mrs. Hutton, and it is her will, after all.
The Arkwright family of Youngstown, Ohio is contesting the probate of May's will.
Can they do that, David? It has been a year and a half.
Yes, they can. They just waited until the very last week.
Is that May's will you have there with you?
Yes.
Let me see, please. I haven't looked at it, well, for a long time.
This is Russell Bankson. Where? District Court, Shoshone County, Wallace, Idaho. Yes. Oh my.
May left $1,000 to each of her two living half-brothers, Lyman and Delaney, and $1,000 to her deceased half-brother, William, to be shared equally amongst his children. Is that correct, David?
Yes, Mr. Hutton.
And she also bequeathed $1,000 to her half-sister, Eliza Grombacker.
Yes, Mr. Hutton.
And she left $5,000 towards the completion of the Labor Temple in the city of Spokane.
Yes.
And lastly, I leave the remainder of my estate to my husband, Levi William Hutton, with full power to use for and during the term of his natural life, or until he should remarry. I did not remarry, did I, David?
No, Mr. Hutton, you didn't.
I didn't think so. Who could I marry after being married to May? Hello, Russell. Word travels fast, huh?
Hello, Al. Hello, David. I got a call from my editor in Wallace. I'm sorry, Al. I'm here as a friend, not a newspaper man.
I suppose Nettie made you promise to?
Yes, she did.
I have no objection to you hearing this information, Russell, but for now only as a friend.
I understand.
So, David, what is it that the Arkwrights are contesting?
Their objections are nay concerned with the gifts that May made to her family, but directly with you and your handling of the probate. They want to have you immediately removed as administrator.
Oh, they do?
They want to prevent you from receiving any more of May's half interest in the estate.
Is that all?
They are demanding a full accounting of your term as administrator, a legal reconstruction of the will, and subsequent redistribution of the property. They're claiming that as administrator, you have failed to follow proper accounting procedures in violation of the laws of Idaho and Washington.
Well, no one can say the Arkwrights aren't thorough.
They want absolute title to all stocks, bonds, other personal property from their stepsisters' estates. In short, they are saying that the probate has denied them their proper share of May's.
They are not due a proper share. They are due only what May gifted to them. Excuse me, David. I'm not angry at you. You're not at fault for any of this.
Thank you, Mr.
If she wanted to give them anything more, she would have put that in her will. What sort of evidence could be produced that would change May's will beyond what she wanted it to be?
They may claim that she made an oral contract with them when she last visited, promising a much greater sum, perhaps all of her half of the estate. They might claim that this oral contract promised that no other will would supersede their claims. They might bring a witness or witnesses to support their claim, to testify to it. They may claim that May was not of sound mind, or that you unduly pressured or coerced her to change the will in your favor.
Well, that just proves they have no understanding of their own half-sister. No one ever coerced May into doing anything. David, May wrote her last will almost 2 years before she died.
Yes, sir. December 2nd, 1930.
And I specifically recall it says near the end of this contract that this will negates any and other all wills before it.
Yes.
Well, then I can only suspect that just because she was so generous to them while she was living that she spoiled them to the point where they simply felt entitled to a larger portion of her entire estate. That's incorrect to you, Russell?
Well, since you ask, Al, yes. I'd say the Arkwrights are a bunch of trundle-bed trash, pure greed.
I'm not sure I know what that means, Russ.
It's not a compliment, Al. I'm sorry I said that. No, I'm not.
David, what's going to happen with this challenge in court?
We will prevail. The suit will ultimately be dismissed.
Why?
Because this contract is not only legal and binding, but because it is true. This is May's last will and testament.
When do these court proceedings begin?
In 10 days.
When we do prevail, David, won't the Arkwrights ask for a retrial or seek a trial in a higher court?
They might, but if they had no more of a case than they have now, they may not even be granted a retrial.
But if it were granted, we would start all over again.
If it were granted, yes, we would.
And while these court proceedings are going on, perhaps for months and months, what happens to the dividends coming from the Hercules mine?
They would be held in abeyance until the new trial is resolved.
And I would have to shut down construction for who knows how long. I will not put the settlement on hold. That would be hugely expensive for everyone involved, bricklayers, excavators, carpenters, everyone. I will not waste precious time and energy in court battles with the Arkwrights, and I will not have May's name splashed all over every newspaper in the Northwest as someone who did not honor her promises to her own family, and I will not tolerate the accusation that I have behaved in any fraudulent manner. The Hutton settlement will not open under accusations of wrongdoing. David, will you prepare our defense of the truth for the courtroom in Wallace?
I will be happy to do whatever it takes.
Thank you. Let's make a few notes. When we prevail, I will offer the Arkwrights a financial settlement, which I believe to be a fair amount to cover whatever promises May might have made to her family. But with this understanding, the offer I make will be a one-time offer, clearly stating that they must accept it within 1 week from the day we put it in their hands. And
In exchange for that sum, they will revoke now and forever any claims to the Hutton estate.
well said, David.
I will draft it tonight.
Well, you'll need the amount.
Yes, sir.
The amount will be 1/4 of May's projected estate value that they could receive upon my death. That would be right at $175,000. Yes.
One-time offer, response in 1 week, $175,000.
A settlement to build the settlement.
Please tell May that I really am sorry about that trundle bed trash comment of mine. It was out of line. No, I'm not sorry. No, I'm not.
Well, May, I suppose you didn't miss much of that, did you? May? Are you still talking to me? I love you, May. I guess you might have made some generous promises the last time you were home. Well, there are worse sins to commit. Don't you worry. It's only money.
The trial took place in Wallace, Idaho, before a judge leaving. It lasted just 2 days. In the afternoon of the second day, the judge called a meeting in his chambers with both sets of attorneys.
To prevail in this proceeding, the plaintiffs must show evidence of a contract that shows express agreement or unequivocal circumstance. The plaintiffs have done neither. Neither. The defense, however, has presented such a document, the last will and testament of Mary Arkwright Hutton, which, except for certain financial gifts to family members and one Spokane, Washington labor temple, confirms Mrs. Hutton's wish that the survivor in her marriage, Mr. Levi William Hutton, has freedom to enjoy the remainder of her total estate, to use as he chooses, without restrictions, during his lifetime. The single exception would occur only if Mr. Hutton remarried. Now, Mr. Hutton has not remarried. Her will is simple, clear, legal, and binding. And I must say, I am struck with the stark presence of greed in this challenge to Mrs. Hutton's will. Enough said. I find for the defense, this court is adjourned.
Enough said. I find for the defense. Looking back on the final months of construction of the Hutton settlement, it is the sounds I recall most vividly. The sounds of hammers and saws, the roaring of trucks loaded with lumber and heavy machinery as they came roaring up the county road, the voices of the workmen calling back and forth as they unloaded bricks and slabs of slate roofing, gray and mottled with purple and green. In the final weeks, with the opening set for Friday, the 13th of November, 1919, people are clogging up the county road as they stop in their wagons and autos to look, to watch, to comment on the progress. Many walk up the lane to ask questions. Farm kids and orchard kids on their way to and from school sneaked up and hid in the shadows of idle trucks and tractors with their eyes wide. But the image that is fixed most deeply in my mind is Al Hutton, the benefactor, each and every day arriving in his Thomas flyer, waving, calling out greetings, thanking and encouraging the men and women, and urging and compelling everyone toward conclusion. Some days his pockets bulging with cigars, which he passed out during a lunch break, like this settlement was the birth of his first child. The goal was to have the children moved in by Thanksgiving. On one particularly brilliant Indian summer day, I looked up to see Al climbing to the top of a hill just to the east of the settlement grounds. That same hill that he and I climbed 2 years back, when he first saw this place and knew what he wanted to do with it. That morning, when Al came down from the hill, I asked him, "What were you doing up there, Al?"
I was just thanking my wife for leading me to this place, telling her how joyful I am. The only thing that would make me happier was if she could be here with me now.
And what did she say to that?
She said, "I am with you, Al Hutton."
That Al Hutton, he's a real romantic. Why did you come up with the idea of building a place like this, Mr. Hutton?
After my parents died, I was passed around in the Hutton family, and I recall very clearly at 14 making a promise to myself that if I ever had the means, I would do something for the children who had suffered the loss of their parents.
Mr. Hutton, did you ever discuss this plan with your wife before she died?
Not before she died, but May and I have discussed it often after she died. We still do. She said she agreed wholeheartedly with what I had done, and she said you could quote her on that.
And what is the name for this home?
It is now and always will be the Hutton settlement.
Mr. Hutton, we have a nomination and it has been seconded for the first president of the Hutton board.
It's a nomination for you, Mrs. Lewis?
No, Mr. Hutton, I've had my time. The nomination is for Agnes Payne. Now please come quickly, we need you to vote.
I followed right behind them, but at the door was politely turned away.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bankson, but we're voting.
Thank you.
It has been moved and seconded that Mrs. Agnes Cowley Payne should become the first president of the Board of Directors for the Hutton settlement. All those in favor, please rise.
I will do everything within my power to help us realize the dream we now share with Mr. Hutton, to provide for the children a warm, safe, and loving home. Now, I open nominations for a board member to supervise the writing of the bylaws.
Mr. Hutton always wanted to build in the country. Wide and open space where the children could run and play in fresh air and learn how to work on a real farm with livestock to care for.
All those in favor of the cottage plan, say aye.
Aye. And he wanted houses that not only looked like real homes, but felt like real homes. That were real homes. The day after the board voted, I started building the first of 4 cottage homes, similar in style, but each uniquely different.
I'm late. No, you're a little early, actually, Gus.
Oh, good.
Hello, Gus.
Gus, where's your auto?
At home. I ride my bicycle.
You rode out here 8 miles?
Once I rode from Spokane to Wallace on the Mullen Trail. This was not so much.
Come here, Gus. Sit down. Are you trying to fit yourself?
Just the opposite. The doctor wants me to build up my lungs. Too much bad air and dust in the Hercules mine in the old days.
Well, my order is for you to rest.
Okay. Are you happy with the barn, Hal?
Very happy. Truly, I could not have done it without you, Gus.
It is wonderful, Gus. Thank you.
And there are many things I know no thing about. But I know barns and milk cows. When do cows come today, Al?
I think that's them coming up the lane.
Just like you build for your children to be safe and born and happy. Hal and me, we build for the cows to be happy. More happy cows, more milk.
Yep, here they are.
You don't worry, Al. I go unload them for you, then show them around maybe. Give them some lunch maybe.
How many children will live here all at the same time?
We're planning on 80 children, 20 in each cottage.
And where will all these children be coming from?
The first 23 will be coming from Spokane Children's Home downtown. But eventually, children will come from everywhere.
Is it true that children from the Coeur d'Alene Mining District will receive special consideration for admission?
Considering the source of his wealth, Mr. Hutton thought it right and just that those children receive preference. The age range for children entering the Hutton settlement is 5 to 14 years old.
Mrs. Payne has asked our committee to consider this question. Should we start a school here at the settlement or enroll the children in the public school?
It has been moved and seconded that the infirmary should have 2 isolation wards, one for boys and one for the girls. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Mr. Hutton, we found our nurse today. Her name is Mrs. Margaret Martin, and we are convinced she'll be excellent.
Mr. Hutton would like a mother and a father figure in each of the cottages. He calls them house parents. They will live in the cottages and care for the children, eat with them, and assign their chores, advise them, supervise them. You know, love them. Harold and I, we miss having children in our lives, and we have applied to be house parents. We're hoping to be chosen.
Originally, Mr. Hutton wanted the boys and the girls in the same cottage, since, well, it was more like a real family situation. But in the end, we all agreed that having boys and girls in the same cottage was not such a good idea.
All those in favor of having boys in separate cottages from the girls, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say... All those in favor of the children wearing uniforms, say aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay. That particular vote for individualism over conformity, that was in honor of May Arkwright Hutton.
Mr. Hutton, would you like to look at one more child application today?
Yes, of course.
I think this one will please you very much.
I don't see a name.
Oh, it's Timothy Rarick.
From Spokane, Washington.
Timmy?
He's here with his uncle.
Hello, Silas.
Hello, Mr. Hutton.
Hello, Timmy.
Hi, Mr. Hutton.
Nettie, do we have any of that hot cocoa left?
Why, yes, we do. Would you like me to take Timothy and pour him a cup?
Yes, I would. Thank you. We won't be long, Timmy.
Sure, Mr. Hutton.
Here's a seat. Oh, what can I do for you, Silas?
We're moving to Montana, Mr. Hutton. My wife's family left us a small farm in the Bitterroot Valley. We're going to be going in a few weeks.
Well, I'm happy for you and your family, but sad you're moving away.
We wanted Tim to be going right along with us, but he asked me a few days back if you could stay here.
At the settlement?
Yes.
Well, how do you feel about that?
Well, Tim and me, we've done a lot better since last year. Teacher says he's best in his class. He's made lots of friends too, and you know he loves his baseball. Mrs. Drury and me, we just want him to be happy.
I believe strongly in trying to keep families together, Silas.
I know. This is the first Tim has been in one place for more than a year. I said to him that he could stay here, but only if it was a part of this, with you.
Yes, you can be a part of this with me.
Maybe we could work out some way where we could help pay.
No money needed, Silas, but thank you. Tim will get all he needs. He'll work on the farm here, and he'll go to school in the valley. I'll make sure personally he gets opportunities to break a few windows.
We can come to visit.
Yes. I'll make arrangements for Tim to visit you, maybe this summer after you're all settled in.
Tim wants to be a railroad engineer. I don't know where he got that idea. But I think he probably will. He's a good boy, Mr. Hutton.
Yes, he is, Silas.
Well, I suppose there's paperwork.
Yes, but I can drop by your house tomorrow and we can do that together.
Good enough. I'll just wait for him over there.
We'll be moving in very soon.
Thanks, Mr. Hutton.
Guess you better start packing your bags.
I already have.
You'd be darn sure to thank Silas and your Aunt Alice. They're the ones making this possible. They loved you. Do you know that?
Yes, sir. I know.
Okay. Good. Go on.
So, the first group will be 5 children, 4 will be girls. When they arrive at 11 a.m., Fanny, will you supervise the girls' move into cottage number 1?
I'll be happy to. This is so exciting, isn't it? The children are coming.
Yes. And Mrs. Northrup, are you willing to supervise our boys' move into cottage number 2?
Oh, yes, of course.
And we will continue throughout the day at 2-hour intervals. On Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m., all the children will be in their new home.
Much funny.
Oh, I was just wondering what May would say if she could see all this. Kitchens with electric ovens and those automatic washing machines.
I know exactly what she said. It's about damn time.
You coming in on budget, Al?
As my friend D.C. Corbin would say, none of your damn business.
Just for historical record.
$395,945.22.
That's astonishing. Do you need a loan?
No. My shroud will have no pockets, Russ. Now, by the end of this weekend, this place will be filled with the sounds of children running and laughing and playing on those slides and swings. That merry-go-round. I can hardly wait. Russell, you've been with me every step of the way, and I don't feel I've thanked you enough.
Oh, you have. You know, 100 years from now, people will want to know how this Hutton settlement came to be. I'll be rich from all the books I sell.
100 years from now, you'll be dead, Russ.
Never thought of that. Oh, well.
Reporting for duty, sir.
Charles, what are you doing here?
Remember, Mr. Hutton, you hired me just before I joined the Navy. I'm now out of the Navy.
Of course I remember. It's very good to see you.
This place is fantastic, sir. Mr. Hutton, simply wonderful. Your letters did not do it justice.
How did you get out here?
Well, I called your house in the railroad station. Bert came down, picked me up, and brought me here.
Well, I'm happy for the armistice and relieved you're home safe and sound. Your parents must be overjoyed.
I'm sure they are, Mr. Hutton, but I've not been home yet.
You haven't seen your parents?
Well, no, sir. I promised you I would come here as soon as I possibly could. So I did.
Oh, you need to get home immediately to see your parents. Is Bert still here?
Yes, sir.
Bert, please take Charles to the train station immediately, and there'll be a ticket that's waiting for him to Walla Walla. And find Nettie, and Gladys will give you your first 2 weeks' salary. And Charles, your parents have worried themselves sick every day you've been gone. You cannot make them wait for one more day.
But don't you need me here, sir?
And not as much as they need you there. Don't you worry, son. If you choose to, you'll have the rest of your life to help me.
Mr. Hutton, sir,
What is it, Bert?
there are no more trains to Walla Walla until tomorrow afternoon.
Well, good. That solves it then, doesn't it? Thank you, Bert.
My pleasure, Mr. Hutton.
Tomorrow afternoon, to your parents, 2 weeks, not a day less.
Would you like me to promise you?
Yes, I would.
All right, then. I promise.
Yeah, the day come now out.
Tim, sound bell, son.
Yes, sir.
Your name is Jane, isn't it?
Yes, Mr. Hutton.
Don't you want to come in? This is your new home.
Hi, home.
Yes, your home. It's very pretty and it has a big soft bed. Just speak.
Will you hold my hand?
I sure will. Come on. You'll be the first little girl to go in the house.
Really? Me?
Yes, really.